Good morning. Good morning, Professor. Today, really nice to meet you guys. Coming here to listening our final report. And today, my team, including me, Parker, and my partner is Serena, will introduce about the impact of climate change on port infrastructure. And here is our outline. First, we will find the definition of climate change, and next we will introduce some impacts of climate change on maritime business and also port infrastructure. And after that, we will show some practice in port of Antwerp, and last is solution and conclusion. And first, we will define the climate change. What is climate change? As we know, climate change, that easy to understand. That is the change of the weather or air condition around the air condition. And we will see that maybe there are some storm or rain or drought, and the tsunami will be the phenomena in this case. And in the detail, in the academic, we will have a detailed definition that climate change is a long-term change in average weather patterns that have come to define Earth's local, regional, and global climates. And to solve with the climate change, in the world, we have a process that organized by established by Port of Rotterdam. That is the WPCAP, the World Port Climate Action Program. This program launched in September in 1918 in San Francisco, and the purpose of this progress is to reduce the CO2 emission from shipping and ports and improve air quality. And the members, as can be seen here, there's a lot of big ports participated in this program, including Antwerp, Barcelona, Hamburg, you can see Long Beach, Los Angeles, Vancouver, Rotterdam. Yeah. Next, I will introduce about the impacts of climate change on maritime industry. First, as can be seen that the bad weather can change and delay the ship and working berth schedule. As the statistic, 30% of ships delayed each year because of bad weather. With the storm and the rough sea, we can see the ships is very difficult in departing, and goods cannot be delivered on time. And also the ships went to the sea when they are gone to the sea after bad weather, maybe they cannot return to the shore. Here we can see that the schedule of the berth. Here is the schedule of the berth. Very busy. If there's some delay ship, the port have to reschedule and rerouting for this ship. Not only one ship. That's and also there are many ships have to be changed the berth and also change the time. Absolutely, climate change can cause the bad weather and cause accidents. And with the storm and big wave or rough sea, some seas from the far from away the shore. Maybe they will get some interruption communication with the port, and maybe will cause some accident outside the sea. And we can see that there's damage with the ships, not only the ships, and also the cargo and human. And with the change of the weather, the goods will get damaged, and because the delayed ship and rain and unstable temperature, especially in the frozen fruit and foods. maybe if we'll get damage like this, and the preservation of the port and of the ship have to be cared. And we can see that the bad weather maybe is a big storm or big waves like the tsunami, or sometimes outside the sea will get the accident like of washing overboard. With preserve the dangerous goods on the ship. Maybe the port and the ship have to have the solution to preserving the goods on the ship and goods on the port because of unstable and unstable temperature. And absolutely, with the bad weather, can cause the low productivity for the port because delay ship, because the cargo lost, and also and from that the money, the income of the port will be reduced. Also, climate change can cause a congestion at the port because the waiting time of the ship become more lengthened, and especially with the deep sea vessel. From that, some ships, some service barge will be full at the port, and will be make congestion at the port. And next sharing now will introduce about impacts of climate change on port infrastructure.
Hi, I'm Serena. On the basis of the impact of climate change on maritime industry, I will talk about the topic is on port infrastructure. And this is a picture about what the port infrastructure include. It's about terminal, backwater berth, hinterland facilities, and some channels. And the impact of the climate change will cause something bad thing that's on port infrastructure. It may rising the sea levels and rising the ocean temperature, even increase extreme weather like tropical storms and typhoons, and more frequent and intensive flooding everywhere. And it may collapse the facility on port. And on fourth is rising wave height over the breakwater design level, because the port is situated at the sea level, so if the back is big enough, it will make over it and turn to tsunami, destroy the whole port. And the final is the heavy rain exceeding key will generate capacity. And the next is some climate change practice at port, and we take the port of Antwerp for example. The port of Antwerp is the Europe's second largest seaport just after Rotterdam, and it is located at the Flanders, Belgium, and mainly in the province of Antwerp. And because of efficiency and sustainability, the port of Antwerp has to have some solution to fighting against the climate change, and then so they decide to participate in a WCAP I just mentioned before. And in this program, the Antwerp looks to reduce to half CO2 emission by 2030. Then Antwerp brought 7 chemicals and energy companies together at the end of 2019 to reduce CO2 emission and take a practical step. Next is a picture about how Antwerp to reduce the CO2 emissions. And the first is by capturing the CO2, then by transporting CO2 locally, and then to transport it internationally by pipeline to the Rotterdam and by ship to Norway. And the final is storage CO2 to underground aquifers. And the next is another picture about the methanol. In May 2020, we say our organization is called Power to Methanol, after BV. And this arm is to produce 8,000 tons of sustainable methanol by this program, and to industry scales demonstration plant, and to produce the sustainable method by using the raw material, not instead of the fossil. Next is the solution. So we separate in three kinds of situation, and this kind of situation has different solutions. So first is to reducing rising sea level. The solution is building construction with appropriate storm surge barrier. The examples in Rotterdam. The Rotterdam has the world's biggest storm surge barrier. It's automatic. It was designed with the sensors and a supercomputer system. It will updating with weather and the sea levels and programming, and it will running automatically. And so if the sea level will rise 3 meters than the normal, the winds will close automatically. And the next is to prevent the port operations from storm, typhoon, and big waves. Also have a solution is design a storm surge barrier and design a dike. And in Australia, there are design an artificial floating forest, which is like a floating deck, and they can to hold back the wind and start from the hold by the wave and start the wind. Next is to improve drainage capability. We can stepping of key slope, replacing of or securing of pipe or manhole covers, and install underground drainage pumps. In Italy, there are a complete drainage system in Naples port, and it is using a plumber concrete technique channels, and built in a slope of 2.5%. And this system can completely drain a whole amount of water from the dock, and a total length is 1,000 meters. Next is our conclusion. So, responding to the climate change, we have two policies: is mitigation and adaptation. So the climate change mitigation means to avoiding and reducing emissions of heat-trapping greenhouse gases. And the climate change adaptation is change our behaviors, system, and in some cases ways of life. So what are the most appropriate action approach should be taken now and to deal with the climate change? It should be more considering the most cost-effective approach, and to better understand the port infrastructure, and to take a more balanced, risk-balanced approach. So we can not control climate change. The above solution that we mentioned just for prevention, and the appropriate approach is only thing that we can do just mitigation and adaptation. It's our reference. Thanks for listening.
Thank you. And after listening your presentation, I can relate to the first group. They talked about the green port, right? And maybe that's one of the solutions, building a green port. And you give an example of the port in Europe, right? And what about and what about the actions doing in Taiwan? Or your country, Vietnam?
My country, actually, my country nowadays still build a green port. Is have plan to build the green port. Any solution yet? But hopefully in the future, maybe some ports in Vietnam will become the green port. For now, maybe it's still very hard to do.
I mean, any infrastructures?
Port infrastructure.
Yes, port infrastructure similar to the example on your presentation.
Actually, most of port in Vietnam very small. are very small, and they not focus on invest too much in the port infrastructure, and normally they are step by step to focus on to how to make the green port, and maybe in the future maybe we will focus on the automate port, maybe in the future, not now, not for now. Yeah.
What about example in Taiwan?
I don't really
As far
know
as
much
you know?
about
Okay.
Taiwan.
Maybe in the future, next time you can do some research about these issues in Taiwan.
Thank you. Would you please forward the slide to where you have shown 2 examples of smart port? Yeah, starting with Notre Dame. Okay, I would appreciate, because this is a very special, okay, let's go to the picture. Yeah, because this is a very special picture, but and it explains when the temperature or the sea level rises, it will automatically do certain things, and then mechanical things on the curve, on the leverage. So I would appreciate if you can enlarge the picture, and probably set aside the text, so we will know what's going on the picture, because picture would explain itself, and you just point at the leverage where it will raise or down. Okay, and next slide, please. Yeah, this is the same way. You see that? No, so from our perspective, probably from the screen you see perfectly, but from the audience point of view, we cannot see the details of the picture. Next slide, please. Next one. Okay, that's the same ways, and showing that why this leverage, why this drainage is important, and showing if there is certain level, certain height pointed out, so we will understand the importance of it. Next, please. Oh no, yeah, excuse me, previous. There are several slides you use backdrop. Go up. Okay, go up. Yeah. Okay, here. Next. Okay. This is an excellent picture, but you shrink it to about 75 to about 60% of the slide, so we cannot. You are actually explaining the detail on the picture, but the backdrop takes a lot of our notice on it. It's a noise to me. Okay, so I cannot see what you really want to present, because that is an excellent picture. If you just enlarge to the full slide, you can do a much better job. Yeah, same as the next one, I think. Yeah, you see, this is an excellent, because you're explaining the process, and if you can enlarge it, so we will know much better. So try not to use backdrop. Use at least backdrop as possible when you prepare the next slide, because from audience point of view, from designer's point of view, I want to make it pretty. From audience point of view, I want to see what you are telling me. The purpose of presentation is to communicate, to persuade. So how should we communicate and persuade? Through the fact, through the information I want to present. Okay. But other than those, it's a very good presentation. Thank you.